DeLuna Coffee. Come explore our world of coffee. Founded by the first family of Florida State Coffee and based in Pensacola, Florida, DeLuna Coffee is the driving passion of the Lemmix family. Ed, his wife Courtney, and their son Brett. Their tailgating spot out front of the Unconquered statue is their own slice of paradise. But the real delight is DeLuna's blend of Kona, Maui, Kenya, Colombian, and Brazilian beans that they call their liquid gold brew. In fact, they called it Paradise. Try it or one of their 24 blends and get a discount when you use the promo code WARCHANT15. Visit DeLunaCoffee.com and check out their Facebook and Instagram.
From Tally to Cali,
it's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up! Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, fueled by DeLuna Coffee.
Coffee's for closers only.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hutchavandi
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! What's up, everybody? Welcome on into Wake Up Warchant, fueled by DeLuna Coffee, DeLunaCoffee.com. Come explore our world of coffee. Warchant15, the promo code for a discount over there. Warchant30 gets you a discount over at Warchant.com. 30 free days, in fact, of access to the ultimate Seminole sports source. The War Room Report from Gene Williams dropped late on Wednesday night. Lots of good stuff in there. Go check it out. And if you're listening to us on YouTube, hit the thumbs up. We would appreciate that. If you're on iTunes, the podcast app, I'm glad you found us. Again, there's 2 feeds. Just search for us on the Apple Podcast app. Search for Wake Up Warchant. Tap on the one with the DeLuna logo. You'll be good to go. Corey Clark's here. I'm good to go now. It's good to be back, Corey. It's been a minute.
Feels good, doesn't it? It feels
does.
Good. Yeah, we're here. We made it for all you folks, all you fine folks.
Yeah. So we're going to do a little run it through spring game preview, Renegade Express as well. But before that, let's talk about practice on Thursday. You made it back out. Your triumphant return to the breezeway of Dick Hauser Stadium to watch the Al Dunlap practice fields buzz with activity. How was it, man?
It was all right. It was all right. It was, it was how I remembered it. But it was a nice day. It was a beautiful day. Got my second vaccine earlier in the day, felt fine throughout the whole thing. So it was a good day overall.
How are you holding up right now? I know we're trying to get this over as quickly as possible, just in case something kicks in. But I think
hey man, I know I'm jinxing it. I'll knock on wood.
Okay,
but so far so good. But I know the worst is yet to come. We're not out of the woods quite yet. I think we barely started walking into the woods.
All right. So if people see you Saturday, can they hug you, or they still got to keep distance?
I feel like we still wait. It's supposed to be 2 weeks after the shot until you're fully immunized, inoculated, whatever the word is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, look, we can do bro hugs.
Okay.
Fist bumps are the way to go. Fist bumps are kind of the new thing now. I don't know that I'll ever shake another hand.
Right.
Or kiss another hand. You remember, Aslan, when we'd go out.
Absolutely.
Any person we'd meet, male or female, I would just take their hand and kiss it.
Yeah.
Not going to be able to do that anymore. I just feel like those days are done. But, you can give me a bro hug, a back slap, not a hard one, or a fist bump's fine.
Okay. By the way, everybody, there will be a informal get-together involving the Warchant.com family over at 51 on Madison, which is an elite booster-run operated establishment in College Town. I think it's between Tin Lizzy's and Township. If you Google it, 51 on Madison, you'll get the address. It'll lead you right to the doorstep of paradise. But Gene Williams and Tom Lang will be doing a live post-game show from 51 on Madison. And then once Michael Langston, Corey Clark, Irish O'Fell, once everybody's done doing their contributions for the website, they're going to try to filter on over to the establishment to meet and greet with everybody. I will try to do the same as well. But again, I don't know what the capacity limit is and how many people are going to be let in, and if it's going to be someone on the outside. So it's quite informal. We hope to have something more robust, I guess we could say, right, Corey, hopefully for that opener against Notre Dame.
Oh, we definitely will. We definitely will have something robust before then in some capacity. But, yeah, this is informal. We are going to try to make it if it's a downpour or, if it's slammed or if we have to, it takes us a while to get over there. I don't want people to think, oh, the spring game is over. No, I mean, I don't, man. And I'm not thinking there's going to be a throng of people like looking up, where's Corey? Where's Aslan? Why aren't they here yet? But if you're there, and it's an hour and 20 minutes after the game and you're wondering where we are, I promise you we're still working. We will try to make it over there. That's not a cop-out. I am definitely going to try to make it over there. I don't know how long I'll be there. I assume I'll be feeling perfectly fine by then, but who knows? But yeah, we got to do our jobs right after the game, but we'll try to get over there as soon as possible, even for just a little while, even to duck in and just say hello and kiss hands.
I don't want to be that guy. Man, I love taking showers. Love taking showers. Remember when we went to ACC kickoff and you found us those swanky rooms at the La Meridian in Charlotte, Corey?
Yeah.
I literally probably took a 40-minute shower in that thing one night.
I remember you described the bathrooms. Stephanie was there too on that trip, and we were going out to a bar afterwards, and you were talking about the bathrooms, and you described them as sexy.
They were.
And I never heard a bathroom described
Just-
before. I still haven't. That was the one and only.
Yeah, unfortunately, this house I'm trying to get into, I can't do anything remotely as sexy as what the La Meridian in Charlotte was. Same thing, there's one in New Orleans I went to. I remember when I was asked whether I was going to renew my contract for a 5th year. I'm like, in Jackson, Mississippi, I'm like, let me get away. Hopped on a train, went down to New Orleans like on a Wednesday, Thursday, and got a room at the La Meridian, like next to Harrah's. And I literally took another like 45-minute shower. Those things were just the best. But I hate getting rained on. I hate getting rained on. I hate, man, you spill a beer on me at a bar. I haven't been in a bar in God knows how long. But, man, the amount of bars we got kicked out of because I'd try to start a fight with somebody that would spill a beer on me, like bumping through the crowd. It's like, you're unapologetic about it. Just like, hey, man, cost of doing business, man. You're gonna get people are gonna bump into you in a busy bar. You're gonna get beer spilled on you. No, man, figure it out. Drink some of the top off so you're not slushing around creating a mess. Yeah, so I hope it doesn't rain, man, because if it rains, it's just gonna my disposition is just gonna be rotten. But.
And even if it does rain, I hope none of our listeners or any of the boosters spill beer on you.
Yeah,
because then apparently we're going to have to fight.
Well, I think we're all grown. I think people are more apologetic now. But it's just like, yeah, you'd go to a bar on the Strip, and it's like it's Johnny Fratboy, and he doesn't care. Like you're living in his world. Like, hey, man, deal with it.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's kind of comes with the territory.
All right, well, let's go outside and move some furniture around. But nonetheless, I digress. All right, so practice. We spoke to Norvell. We also spoke to Odell. And we spoke to Fabian Lovett afterwards. So what did you see out there, Corey? I didn't see a lot of run stats, run game stuff. I wonder how much that is a product of them just not, they want to do thud. They don't want to wrap guys up, tackle them, bring them to the ground. So they're probably not going to do a whole lot of run game stuff. But throwing, 11 on 11, 7 on 7. What'd you see, man? What did the Coracle see?
Yeah, they didn't have a ton of reps, any of them. I would say each quarterback got against the defense maybe 20 competitive reps, which means most of the players got about that too. Yeah, they didn't run the ball a lot. They tried. They had a situation where they got 1st and goal at the 9, at the defense's 9-yard line, and tried to get in. They did throw. Jordan Travis made a really good pass. It was a play action pass, and Jermaine Johnson, who's just a monster, by the way, was in his face, and he threw it kind of sideways around him, like around his body. He manipulated the ball so it wouldn't be batted down, and he got it to DJ Williams, who I think got in the end zone. I couldn't quite tell if they gave it to him or not. They might not have, but he got in the end zone. Travis Jay got to him a little bit too late, and he got in the end zone for a touchdown. That was a really nice play. And then, but they didn't. The only running back that had a couple of nice runs, and again, it was with the 2nd/3rd type team against the 2nd/3rd type defense, was Treshaun Ward had a 28-yarder followed by a 10-yarder back to back. Those were really the only highlight runs of the day. Everything else might have gotten a couple of yards. Corbin got swallowed up on a wild Corb snap. But yeah, and I honestly, the longest run of the day was Mackenzie Milton. He broke containment on the left side, and there was nobody there. He ran for 40 yards until a DB got near him, and then they blew the whistle. But hey, if he makes that guy miss, it's a 60-yard touchdown. But yeah, I thought the defense again, the defensive backs again, not a whole lot changed. They didn't do any one-on-ones this time. It was all 7 on 7 or 11 on 11. But not a whole lot changed when it came to the DBs versus these wide receivers. Like one-on-one jump balls, I think the only one that I think Portier made a nice catch on a sort of jump ball in between two guys. He went up and got one. Other than that, nothing. The DBs either knocked it down, had really good coverage, or the ball, the wide receiver didn't go get it. And to be honest with you, I was really kind of disappointed in the wide receivers. There was one drill they did where they got near the goal line, and they would move the ball from it was inside the red zone. So a couple snaps were at the 18, one was at the 10. Milton took all his snaps, I believe, he took one snap from the 10 or 12, got it down to the 5, and then threw 2 balls in the end zone that, to my eye, and now look, it was on the opposite field. I feel like, it felt like it was probably the Zapruder film. As far as I'm concerned, I just don't see well. But Ira had his binoculars on it, and I thought I saw what I saw. Milton put it in a good spot, and Brian Robinson just didn't make the play. And same with Darian Williamson on another one where his adjustment to the ball wasn't what it has to be at this level. Again, I give them they're freshmen, but I believe they threw the ball, jump ball, fade type passes to Brian Robinson down the sidelines, and it was 0 for 4. Never really even came close, quite honestly, to catching one. Now, they weren't all great throws, and there were good coverage, but no completions there. Portier is the only one that really had multiple catches. Maybe Pokey had a nice one. I think Pokey had like a 30-yarder, nice throw. But yeah, and that was the thing. Milton, in one of the drills, I know people care about the quarterbacks more than anything. I thought Jordan Travis was the better of the two on Thursday. But Milton had a really nice play where he escapes the rush, rolls, he spins away from a defensive end, starts rolling to his left. He could run it, but he keeps his eyes downfield and then lobs a pretty nice ball 25, 28 yards downfield to, I hate to pick on the kid, but Brian Robinson, who kind of goes to a knee to catch it and drops it by the sideline. And that happened another time where maybe Williamson dropped it, somebody else, or Burrell, somebody else dropped it, where McKenzie stepped up in the pocket, rolled to his right, kind of fitted in nicely between 2 defensive backs, and the receiver dropped it anyway. So, no, it was Cam McDonald. There you go. I remember now. It was Cam McDonald. Definitely should have made the catch. If you're a big-time player, you make that catch. And he did not right there. So McKenzie Milton had not good stats at all. Well, no, nobody did. I think there were maybe 3 passes completed that were in the air for more than 15 or 20 yards total. But Milton was really let down by a couple really nice, impressive plays, impressive ways to manipulate the pocket and get out of trouble. And the receivers just didn't make the play. So I think that, again, that's going to be something we're talking about on Monday's show after the spring game, and then obviously quite often over the next 4 or 5 months.
But hey, man, the pressure was being created by Florida State defensive players, and the coverage was by Florida State defensive backs. So.
Well, now I will say this: the DBs they're not being beaten. Again, that's a good and negative. There's positive and negative to that, but they are in those dudes' hip pockets a lot of the time. These quarterbacks have to make really nice throws to get it there because these DBs aren't being left in the dust. And I tell you what, there was one snap when they were doing 11 on 11 where Jermaine Johnson, I feel like he was touching McKenzie Milton's back a second, literally maybe a half a second to a second after the ball was snapped. Like Darius Washington just might as well have not been there. I mean, he went right around him in a flash. And when we talked to Norvell afterwards, and you guys have heard enough about Jermaine Johnson, I get it. The dude's legit. But when we were talking to Norvell afterwards about him, he said, look, it makes it hard to run your offense. He creates a lot of chaos, which is true. Again, I've told that story about Jimbo not letting Jernigan practice. It creates a lot of chaos, but he also said what he really likes is his physicality in the run game, and that he's gotten really good there too. And because I think he was kind of under the impression we all were that this dude is a pass rushing specialist, but he obviously knows what he can do rushing the passer, but he then said that he likes what he's doing, his physicality in the run game as well. So he's a player, man. He's a player. They got a few of them that stand out, mostly on defense right now. They got a few of them, but he's certainly one of them.
Yeah, go listen.
He's certainly
to Fabian,
the one.
Sorry, go listen to Fabian Lovett's interview when we ask him about Jermaine Johnson, and he kind of talks about there's a lot of stuff that they did last year when it came to not setting the edge. It's not happening any longer because Jermaine Johnson won't allow it to happen. So
there you go.
Take
nice,
that. Take that for.
Hey, by the way, so in that interview, who asked the question? Because let people know. It's just what it is with Corey and technology. It's just going to happen. I could not get on the internet very well after practice. We try to stay in the baseball stadium so I can actually transcribe the Norvell press conferences after practice. I forgot how much fun I had doing that after practice. By the way, sitting in that alleyway. I couldn't get on the internet. The Wi-Fi wasn't working well enough, so I used Ira's phone. That wasn't working. I could not get on the Zoom. It kept freezing. So then I finally decided, okay, I'm just gonna. I know I'm at 7%. But I'm going to get on my phone and use my phone and transcribe you listening to the Zoom on my phone. And it lasted through Norvell. I got most of Norvell, then all of Odell Hagen's, and then my phone died. So that was it. I was wrapped. I was in the car by the time Fabian Lovett was talking. But I do know that when Mike Norvell and Odell Hagen's talked, and they were probably asked a total of 14 questions maybe between them, 14 or 15. We'll go with 15. 14 of them were from Aslan and Ira. And the other one was from, who was that guy?
Brandon Marcello, who used to work for the Clarion Ledger in Jackson, covered Mississippi State. Then he went and covered Auburn for the Number website. And now he's the national writer for the Number website.
Okay, so those were the questions. You probably asked 5. Ira asked 9. Yeah. And in fact, Ira had like 3 in a row. We'll go back to Ira.
Right.
And then he asked 1. Now, what was the breakdown for Fabian Lovett?
I don't know, like 6, 7 questions. It was like 4 Ira, 3 Aslan.
So I don't understand. I don't call out our competitors a lot, but what was going on?
I don't know. Yeah.
Like literally, there were 3 people that came to interviews after the last practice we get to watch of the spring. There were 22 questions asked. Warchant asked 21 of them. Like if we had all had Corey Clark technological issues, would there just be Odell just stares at the Zoom for 2 minutes and bounces and leaves? Anyway, all I'm saying is that shows you the power of Warchant, that they literally carry press conferences apparently, and that Aslan and Ira get it done and have gotten it done all spring. I've asked a few here and there, so have Gene, but Ira and Aslan have carried the day every day. All the information we get from these coaches and these players that isn't eyeballing it from the baseball stadium is largely because of Aslan and Ira. And Thursday was incredible.
You know, like tap into my inner Ryan Kelly and like pull out a Mighty Ducks metaphor. It made me think of like when Adam Banks, like they find out, you know, I don't know, was it him or was it? Yeah, when they find out that like Gordon Bombay, you know, used to be a Hawk. And then the very next game, like they just all quit on him, like during the game, like they don't skate after the puck. They just sit there. They don't do anything he says. It's like almost like we did something to everybody else, like our fraternity of journalists. We're like, all right, forget it. We're not even going to ask any questions then. Like I feel like we did something to hurt their feelings. Like we're not going to ask any questions. Fine, you guys think you're such hot, you know, guys. You do it yourself then. Carry the day. Go ahead. And we did. We obliged.
Yeah, you did. You did what you had to do. So that's the Warchant promise, guys. Even if nobody else is asking questions, Ira's going to be there.
Ira's the lighthouse, man. Lighthouse in rough waters, man. He's just a steady Eddie. He's always going to be there, man. All right, let's pivot then. Was there anything else I want to talk about practice-wise? Yeah, Ira did ask Norvell about whether or not, if it does rain, if they'll, you know, move up the time, and it sounds like that's something they haven't broached. Probably won't. I don't know how much TV affects that, but I mean, if there's lightning, I think he said.
Can't at all, right? It's not on ESPN, is it?
It's ACC Network, man.
Come on, man. Screw the ACC Network. Like, don't. There are people actually coming into town for this game. So if you find out at 9 in the morning that whoever your meteorologist is that you definitely trust says, look, at 5 p.m. it is 100% chance of thunderstorms. 100%.
For the next 3
hours.
hours.
At noon, it's 10%.
Yeah.
We have to go at noon. Do not make your fans sit through a driving rainstorm or a 2.5 hour delay for a half of football. Put it in a place where they can come and watch the game and enjoy the weather if there's any chance at all that they can do that. I just don't think you can say we're 2021 now, man. Like we can predict this a little bit better than we used to. Where if you have enough notice to say, sorry, I know it's supposed to be at 5. But actually we're moving it to 7, or we're moving it up to 1 so we can get clear of the weather. They do it for baseball games. Yeah. I think in this instance, if they can pinpoint when the really bad stuff is going to get there, to go ahead and move it up. He didn't seem to be all that, I don't know,
Concerned?
excited about that idea.
No.
But I mean, sometimes you just got to make something happen. You're not might have anybody there. You want all this excitement around your program and your new team and everything. If it's a driving rainstorm, I tell you this though, Florida State administration. I know you guys listen to this. If it is a pouring rain, or say the rain from the 03 Miami game.
Oh gosh.
Just a constant. I mean, they played the game. There was no lightning. It wasn't a thunderstorm. It was just a constant rain.
Deluge. It was a deluge.
Yeah, I don't even want to say that. It wasn't a deluge.
Did
It was
you
just
see what they
constant.
played on? Roscoe Parrish got buried in a lake.
Well, that was a lot of it. But it wasn't. Hey buddy, I was at the whatever it was, the '86 Florida game. That was a deluge. That was incredible that my dad didn't go to jail for having his two kids at that game. But so Florida State administration, hear me now. Say it's a constant rain, and only 800 people come to this game, or 1,100 people come to this game. They get free tickets for next season.
I thought you were going to say
Give
open the
those
Champions
people-
Club. I thought you were going to say open the Champions Club.
Yeah.
Everybody
Well,
see the
yeah, open
Champions
up the
Club.
Champions Club? No way. But they go to each of those people that are sitting in those stands. Not the people in the Champions Club. They're indoors and dry. They don't count, and they probably already have their season tickets. Those folks that are in the metal bleachers in the stands, and it's a driving rainstorm, a constant rainstorm, for a half of a scrimmage, go give those people season tickets for the year.
Yeah, man. Like our guy Daryl, he's in the car right now, probably, right? He's like driving out from Thomasville, North Carolina, right now.
He's probably listening to this right now. Yeah, like Daryl. And Daryl, he's making the 9-hour trek. Even if it's raining, he's going to be there with his wife. Go to Daryl and say, hey, would you like season tickets for this year? It's not like you're going to sell out all 70,000 of them. What a great, that'd be great PR, and it's a great way to get reward the fans that come to something like this. If it's a beautiful day, then everybody should be there.
Yeah.
Understood. But if it's an awful day, man, go reward those people that actually show up. I thought they should have done that at the end of the whoever was left at the end of the Wake game in 2006,
Oh, gosh,
the 30-0
right.
game.
Yeah.
Randy Spetman it wasn't Randy Spetman yet. Maybe it was. So whoever the AD was should have been walking around saying, "Here's free season tickets for next year. Here's free. Sorry about this. Here's free season tickets for next year."
Or just, hey, we're firing Jeff. You're the first to know. Jeff's being fired tomorrow.
We're going to call it a resignation, but he's gone. He is out.
Oh, man. All right, let's do our Wake Up Warchant Spring Game Preview. All right, so I don't know how much we're going to see from the running game. Again, I don't know how physical they're going to want it to be. But we haven't really talked too much about the running game because we've been so dead set focused on the quarterback play. I don't know. I'm kind of curious to see the way that Corbin and Toafili run because I think we probably I shouldn't speak for both of us. We shouldn't say we. I think I probably am so predisposed to throwing the football that I always running back some years dime a dozen whatever. But Florida State potentially has a real nice 1-2 punch with those two guys. Sure would like to see, both those guys break off some runs, or at least, especially Corbin, because Corbin, being now 1 year even further removed from that hamstring injury that he sustained at Texas A&M, we should kind of see him, throttle off. No restrictor plate on that guy.
Yeah, no, he looks perfectly fine and healthy, and it's got a nice little burst. They had him returning kicks on Thursday. So for the people, I think somebody asked this about Corey Wren too. He's out there. He's one of the kick returners they were using. They ran him on a couple of end rounds. He's certainly got the speed. No real highlight plays in the couple of times he touched the ball. But when they were working on the special teams, just kickoff returns, kickoffs, he was one of the kickoff returners. Corey Wren was. Travis Jay was. And Jashawn Corbin was. And, what these guys will do, they're not really returning. They're basically returning against air. Like, there'll be 5 guys that run down there. They're angling it towards one side. The guys on that side will block it up, and then he runs until they blow a whistle. But nobody's trying to tackle him. Nobody's really moving towards him. But he opened it up while he was running. Like, it was open field, and it's like, okay, I see what Jimbo saw a little bit. He's got a little burst to him, man. He's not just thunder. He's got some lightning in him too, and we just didn't get to see that a lot last year because he was so good at all his biggest plays were 3rd and 1, 4-yard runs. But I do think that he's got some wheels, man. He's not, again, nobody's Dalvin Cook. He's not Kermit Whitfield speed wise, but he's a he's got some wheels.
All right. And obviously we're both very very bullish on Lawrence Toafili. Hope to see some sort of dynamic plays out of him. Let's move to quarterbacks naturally, obviously. I don't want to say we're going to the 15th round of a heavyweight bout. I don't know if we're going to use like a boxing analogy, boxing metaphor. I don't even know where we're at right now. But if we're talking about 15 spring practices, this will be the 14th one on Saturday. It sounds like Jordan Travis is ahead on everybody's scorecard right now. And the only way Mackenzie Milton can win is via KO, but I don't think that's going to come with anything he does on Saturday. But I don't know. Trying to weigh us versus what the fans haven't been able to see and what they will see. But, man, my whole thing been the last few weeks, I want to see some sort of distance between these two guys. But I don't know. With the way it is right now, it sounds like it would be Jordan Travis outperforming Mackenzie Milton. I don't know what that would do for Milton's confidence, which I probably shouldn't worry about. We should just worry about having the best guy play quarterback for you. But it would be probably – I'd be very curious to see how Mackenzie Milton responds over the summer if he has like a bad spring game, because it does sound like he's kind of behind right now, Travis. And if Travis goes out in front of everybody and shows the playmaking ability that he had when he was healthy, and Mackenzie Milton isn't able to string anything together like that along, I wonder what that really does for the off-season kind of motivation. But it's for them, he probably flushes it after Sunday. But for the fans and you and I talking on this podcast, I wonder how that's going to affect the narrative, if you will.
Yeah, I think it's more the narrative than what the reality. You know what I mean? And that shouldn't matter much, the narrative of somebody being ahead or somebody's confidence waning. It's hard for me to imagine that Mackenzie Milton's confidence can take too big a dip. But then again, that's the Mackenzie Milton from 2018. The one that we're seeing is the guy that hadn't played in 2 years. And so, yeah, I'm sure there's some doubt that creeps in when you're not far and away the best option at quarterback when you have been your whole college career. Not only that, you've been like the best quarterback in the entire state for your whole college career, and now you're struggling to beat out somebody at Florida State. So I can imagine that might, but he certainly doesn't strike me as the kid that shies away from a challenge or shies away from, improving and getting better and focusing on it. And like we've talked about, not only is he coming off a devastating injury, and not only has he not played in 2 years, but he's learning a new system. So he is behind, I think, but that, again, it does not mean that anything will be solved before late August. So, yeah, when it comes to them in the spring game, you'd like to see them both play well. Rodemaker, too. You'd like Jordan and Milton to both play well and then go from there. Both feel good going into April and going into the off season before you get back in August for the actual preseason.
All right, let me bundle receivers and defensive backs. Man, let's really hope the defensive backs are really good, because I was thinking about it, and if the defensive backs are not the reason why these receivers are having an issue, then that means that your receivers are not good and your defensive backs are not going to, that's because the whole fear, right, is that we've been hearing how the wide receivers are having such a difficult time in practice, and then week 2 versus Wake Forest, Sam Hartman's out there throwing for 400 yards on this defense. So, man, probably don't get too upset, everybody, if the receivers drop passes, or actually, no, you should get mad at drop passes. But if they can't get the separation, let's just all chalk it up to the fact that these defensive backs are living up to their star and rating potential. Because if
the Sky Patrol, baby, it's the Sky Patrol. Yeah. They got them on lockdown. You're not going to complete anything against these guys. It's like the Ravens in the early 2000s.
Chris McAllister and Ed Reed and Rod Woodson back there. All right.
Yeah, Ed Reed and those guys. Yeah. That's what it is. Don't get worried, folks. Look, man, the DBs have kind of owned them. I think, again, I'm going off 3 practices I've seen, and then what we've heard and what Ira and you have seen. The DBs have kind of owned them all spring. It is a young group. They haven't owned Pokey. Pokey still makes plays. It's those young guys, and you just want to see, like, what you want to see is just a competitive nature to go get the ball. And that's my ball. I'm going to go get it. And you don't quite see that yet, which is not, that's not unheard of for young receivers. These guys they are going up against, other than Noles, who looks pretty good, by the way, other than Noles, these guys are older than them, and they've kind of shown it. But, maybe moving forward, maybe that 1 or 2 of them can have a big play in the spring game, and that can jumpstart their confidence. And they should be better in August than they are in April. That's what good coaching staffs do. That's what good players do. They get better.
All right, well, offensive line versus the defensive line, I think probably defensive line, at least first team, kind of has a bit of the edge. I mean, Jermaine Johnson has lived up to the expectations. I think fans that want to see him, I mean, that's probably one of the more stone-cold locks you could do, I would think, going to the spring game, is that if all the things that you've heard in the preseason, all the expectations you've had as a fan, Jermaine Johnson is going to probably deliver something that you're going to be like, okay, now I get why I've heard all this, and why Georgia is probably a little bit upset they lost him. It's got to be one of the more confident.
Man, he's the real deal. He's the truth. And I think, honestly, I wonder how much he'll play. Like, I think, he has a couple of good series, and maybe Norvell's like, all right, man, we get it. Go drink some, go drink some Powerade and rest up. Yeah. We got to try to run some offense here. Because what they're going to have to do, look, I'm just telling you, they don't block him when he's coming hard at him. They don't block him. The last two plays of the whole practice on Thursday was a sack by him and a forced scramble by him, because he just from two different sides. He came from the right side and the left side on the next play. So yeah, they have a real hard time blocking him, which is very good for Florida State. And Norvell said that on Thursday. He's like, it's awesome that he's wearing garnet and gold. It's very good for Florida State that they have that guy, but it's not good for the Florida State offense in the spring to go against that guy. So yeah, I think, man, whether he makes a huge splash play or has 4 sacks, you'll see what we're talking about when he's coming off the edge. They can't. They're going to have to leave in a tight end, or they have to leave in a running back, or they're going to have to roll away from him. And that in itself is him making a play. Whether he actually gets 2 or 3 sacks, we'll see. But I think he's in there for. I mean, what do you need to see out of the guy that you haven't seen in the spring already? 8 to 10 snaps, 12 snaps, 15 maybe at the most, and then get him out of there. But he's awesome. They're not going to block him. They don't have a tackle currently on the roster that can block him consistently.
I think I saw some good stuff from your updates about, I think DJ Lundy and Amari both had pretty splashy, flashy plays, so hopefully we'll see some more from those guys. Steven Dick's obviously in the mix too. Kalen DeLoach got a shout out from Mike Norvell, a guy that's kind of having been dependent on a little bit more with Emmett Rice being out. But it still feels like we're, hopefully Amari. Well, I shouldn't say hopefully, but it still feels like it's Amari's, core. It's his guys. He's the bell cow, for lack of a better term.
Yes, yeah, Amari's the guy. Lundy did make. He had a tackle for loss on a Wildcat. I think DJ Williams was running that one. And then he had a sack on another one. Man, he was impressive in the practice that I saw. He made some plays, which is, something linebackers haven't been doing here a whole lot. So that was good to see. DeLoach, Norvell talked him up as well. I don't know what you're going to see out of the linebackers that will get you really excited, though.
Right.
I think more than anything, you just don't want to see anything out of them that makes you really sad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just almost like, when they always used to say, you never know a long snapper. If you know the long snapper's name, it's because he's done something wrong.
Yep.
Like, if you don't even notice the linebackers necessarily, and they're not just chasing guys 10 yards out of position for 40 yards gains, if they just do their jobs and play solidly, I think that's a good day for the linebackers. And saying that, I do think Gaynor has a chance to be a real player, like a playmaker. Yeah. So maybe he'll get a chance to make a couple plays too.
Probably could say that about the interior of the defensive line too, right? I mean, or maybe if the run game doesn't blossom as much as you would hope for the spring game, that probably means that Robert Cooper is doing his job. I'm trying to think, man, other than, I don't know, like 07, 08, I mean, this feels like a kind of a underwhelming interior defensive line. Now, granted, Marvin didn't live up to the expectations we had for him based off of his high school resume and what he did in limited action in 18 and 19. But, man, even like lost decade, you still had like Bunkley, you still had Dockett, you still had Travis Johnson, you still had, real, I mean, you had
Cam Wimbley.
Cam Wimberly, I mean, although he played at defensive end. So in terms of like, even DeMarcus Christmas is a guy that, might have underperformed for Florida State in 2018, but I think he's still in the league hanging around with the Seahawks.
There you go.
Yeah, so I'm curious to see how the Briggs, Fabian Lovett, Robert Cooper triumvirate sort of rotation works. And Joshua Farmer, that's another guy too. He's a true freshman. I think he'll probably get some burn when Tate and the twos are out there. But maybe inconspicuously absent will be the defensive line, the interior, which means, they're doing their job if the run game isn't going as well. So, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're not going to see, no defensive tackles are going to put up huge stats in a spring game, you wouldn't think. But yeah, if the running game up the middle and there's a push up, if there's not much room up the middle and there's a push on passing plays, the inside of the defensive line is doing their job. Again, we know that the problem with the defensive line, not the problem, the issue, the big question mark is the guys behind those guys.
Right,
because they have nothing that's been proven. There's none of those defensive linemen other than the ones you named that you can even say is a solid or average college football player. And I'm not saying they aren't. There's just been nothing that's proven at all. Nothing. So maybe one of those two guys can step up and show some life.
Yeah. All right, thus concludes the Wake Up Warchant Spring Game preview. We're going to step aside. We'll take questions from all you great folks right after this. All right, welcome back. I don't even know what we're going to talk about in the second part of the show, Corey, after we spoke about practice, gave our thorough 2021 spring game preview. But we don't have to worry about it. We got people asking us the questions. It's Renegade Express. You ready? Y'all saddled up, Corey? Ready to rock? Ready to ride? Feel the wind blow through your, not your hair, but, sorry.
Yeah, don't be mean. No wind blowing through my hair. But, yeah, I'm ready to ride, man. I'm ready to rock and roll. Let's do this.
Far away. Man, I think it's just because I rock the comb over now. It's so windy in Tallahassee. Like, I cannot go outside without a hat because my hair will just go. It's sad.
Yeah.
I'll get over one of these days, but not today. Random_John starts us off. Renegade Express, all these questions from our valued subscribers on the Warchant.com Tribal Council. Good morning, Corey and Aslan, our official Pied Pipers of Seminole Nation. What actually is a Pied Piper? Is that like a good person or a bad person?
I thought it was somebody that. Well, let me look it up because I don't want to sound. Well, I already sound completely dumb, but I'm going to look it up to make sure. You go on with the question.
I feel like a Pied Piper is almost kind of like a renegade almost, but I don't know. That's all you Anglo-Saxon people. I don't know. My people, we didn't talk about that stuff. In your opinion, gentlemen, whose fans have it worse? Gonzaga's basketball fans with their 22 straight NCAA tournament appearances, or FSU's baseball fans with 17 College World Series appearances? Neither have won their respective championships despite all of their opportunities. Corey can talk about how much fun it is to watch a winning team and how hard it is to win one of these things, all of which is true, but at some point you actually have to, win one of these things. For a while, finishing in second place every time is loads of fun. Finishing second will never feel like winning at all. Oh, man. Jeez. Yeah, that's a good question. I didn't want to see Gonzaga win. I'm a hater, I guess. I didn't want to see him win. Felt bad when they did the whole Tracy Wolfson post-game interview. That needs to be a mashup. Just a mashup of every losing coach in the national title game, that interview that they do in the tunnel. Back in the day, they'd actually do it, face-to-face in the tunnel, but now with COVID regulations, They're doing it remotely. But I always remember when they asked Roy Williams after Kansas lost to whoever, will you be the coach at, you're going to North Carolina? He's like, all I care about are the kids. And they're like, well, you going to North Carolina or what? And he's like, I don't want to talk about it. He got so upset, and then, day later, it's gone. So
yeah, and he's like, I know that you got somebody in your ear telling you to ask me that, but I don't give a damn about North Carolina. He said something like that, and then 24 hours later, he's like, peace, Lawrence. I'm going home.
Us, man. I'm sorry, us. It's us. This decades.
Yeah.
I mean, Gonzaga's only been around for the last 20 years, which is still a long stretch, but we're talking 80s, 90s.
Yeah, Florida State has been a prominent – they played for the national championship in the 70s against USC, but they've been a prominent top 10 program, legitimate top 15-ish for 40 years. And to make it – so what he say? How many
22 straight for Gonzaga, 17 College World Series appearances for the Noles.
So that would be the equivalent of if Gonzaga had made 17 straight Elite Eights. Or 17 Elite Eights and not won one. They haven't.
No, they have not.
So when Gonzaga gets up to 17 Elite Eights and still hasn't won a basketball championship, then I think that's a fair comparison. But until now, when you get to College World Series, you're one of 8 teams. So yeah, I would still say Florida State. Now, college basketball is a much bigger sport. We know that. People care more about it. But still, to be one of the best programs in the country for 40 years and never get over that hump, and be in the state of Florida, like Gonzaga's, that's not a hotbed of basketball recruiting. Spokane, Florida, you get all the talent you need, great recruiting, great weather, great history. Yeah, I'd say Florida State until. I wonder how many Elite Eights Gonzaga's been to. I bet about 6 or 7.
I feel like when they made it to the national title game against North Carolina a few years ago, that was the first time when they made it to the championship game against North Carolina, that was the first time I feel like they even made it to the Final Four.
Yeah, they've only been to the Final Four twice.
Yeah, this past time was
which is kind of crazy too, really, when you think about it. But yeah, I'm going to look that up. Oh, also Pied Piper, I looked that up. I don't know. It says this is the Merriam-Webster dictionary definition. One that offers strong but delusive enticement. A leader who makes irresponsible promises.
Whoa, see? Yeah.
A charismatic person who attracts followers.
Okay.
So there you go. I'm going with the number 3.
We'll take the third and final definition.
Number 3 definition there.
Mark Few, their season has ended in the Elite Eight twice.
And then in the Final Four twice.
Correct.
So they've been to the Elite Eight 4 times total.
Yes.
So they got 13 more to catch up with Florida State.
Yeah. So don't cry river for me, Bulldogs.
But they're getting there, right? They're starting to get into that echelon of being like the best player to never win a major.
Yep.
The
best quarterback to never win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. I mean, they're getting there, man, because they have been all the other. I mean, you could throw that. They're a blue blood now, man. They're a perennial top 10 team. And you could throw them in with Kansas, Kentucky, North Carolina, Duke, and all those schools. They've won championships. I can't think of another team in college basketball that's been as good as Gonzaga for as long as Gonzaga and not won one. There might be one that I'm not thinking of, but I can't think of one off the top of my head.
No. I mean, I don't know if Illinois has, maybe way back in the day, but Illinois hasn't consistently been great.
Yeah, they haven't been what Gonzaga's been the last 20 years,
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is no, I'd say they're the bridesmaids of college basketball for sure.
It used to be Virginia, but then maybe this is what they need. Virginia lost crushingly, first 1 seed to lose to a 16 seed. Maybe being an undefeated team, making it to the championship game and getting it taken away from you will flip some switch for them. But I'm not exactly rooting for it.
It's kind of bad luck too, man, because that Gonzaga team was really good.
They were.
But that Baylor team was like a once in a lifetime type team.
That's a crazy thing, right?
Just tough break.
You always talk about matchups. They could have, Gonzaga probably could have beat the other 66 teams in the field. But that was the one team they could not, And if somebody were taking care of Baylor, their perfect season happens and they're doing a victory lap. But yeah, nobody was better than Baylor.
Well, it's just like, LSU. I was thinking about this last night. Like LSU was leading Michigan for a good part of that game. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a decent chance that FSU could have beaten that LSU team because that LSU team did not guard anyone. And they would have not enjoyed being guarded. So I think there's a pretty decent chance that that Florida State maybe beats LSU, and then they just have to beat an 11 seed UCLA to get to the Final Four. Yeah. But no, of course, LSU didn't pull that off.
Way to go, Will Wade. Now here, Will Wade's going to maybe last longer than Ed Orgeron. Go figure, right?
Right.
Random_ John also says, what reason could there possibly be for DeLuna Coffee to not already have their Wake Up Warchant blend? It can have your animated faces on it. It's coffee. It's for waking up. It's the official drink of Wake Up Warchant. It's a missed golden opportunity, if you ask me. Anyway, drink up, all you DeLunatics. Thank you, Random_ John. Well, probably because Corey and I don't have developed palates. Like, we couldn't tell Ed, like, hey, get how about, 30% Yirgacheffe beans? Like 20% Venezuelan. Yeah,
Yeah.
But once we develop our palate, maybe we can give some feedback to our friend Ed. But anyhow, watch out for that Unconquered blend, though. That's probably even better. Who wants our facing? Unconquered. That's where it's going to be at. So details of that hopefully emerging soon. Primetime 92, who has now become our de facto life advice break. I should probably have skipped over this and come back to it later. But nonetheless, boys, 2 very different questions for you. Number 1, how does the celebrity play calling work in the spring game? Can Corey be the guy that stands behind Jeff Cameron and pulls his belt back to the sidelines a la Brent Venables? You give me the get-back coach for Jeff?
That wouldn't be a bad idea, right? Yeah, that would be funny. Yeah, and we suggested on headlines that we could be his towel boys.
Okay. Oh, holding up the towel.
Boys.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not tall enough maybe to make that much of a factor, but yeah, I think that I think us being the towel boys would be funny. But yeah, I don't know how the play calling works. I asked Jeff when we talked about it, and I think they give him a list of like 10 to 20 plays he can call, and then we'll go from there. I can't even imagine how this is all going to shake out, but I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, hopefully the weather holds off. I wonder, because, Norvell said it's going to be like the finale. I wonder if they'll just do like goal line red zone, kind of to end the scrimmage, and then have Jeff and, Deckerhoff call the plays for that instead of like giving them, all right, you're starting on the 20, go kind of thing. Because, well, what happens if you go 3 and out? They let you keep going, or then it's Adelson and Staples' turn. But I'm looking forward to it.
And I do think Jeff actually met with the team.
Oh, nice.
Like
Coach Cam,
let's
go.
I know, unless he was joking, he was talking about how he was going over to meet with the team at some point this week. So yeah, man, it's going to be it's cool that Norvell, obviously everybody knows you and I should be involved in this, but instead of Adelson and Staples.
I want no part of this.
Yeah, I don't either. But it is cool that Norvell thinks about this kind of stuff, just make it a little fun, try to do something fun. It's a pretty neat thing.
It'd be just too much risk reward for me. Like if we did it and I looked horrible, I just wouldn't be able to live it down, because I want to keep the illusion that I could be an offensive coordinator, I could call plays. But then if I actually did dial up plays and we scored, I'd be just absolutely insufferable. Just every time Dillingham sucks. Like Dillingham sucks, get rid of him. Hire me.
I had a 4-play 81-yard drive.
Yeah.
What is Dillingham doing? I only had 30 minutes to prepare. This ain't rocket science, guys. Yeah, that'd be you.
Number 2, this is probably for Corey, he says. Any advice when choosing a girl to marry? Red flags to perhaps watch out for. Things you learned from your first go-around. Thank you for doing God's work.
Well, look, now, I that implies that I made a mistake the first time, and I think that I didn't see the red flags. There were no red flags there with Shanna. It did not work out, but she's a very good person, and we liked each other a lot. That seemed like enough.
Love. You didn't love each other? Or do you now know what love is?
That too. Love? I thought that was implied. But, like, to me, it's like it can't just be love. Like, I love my sister. I couldn't spend 4 days with her in a row. It just isn't possible. So it's got to be more than that. But, yeah, man, no, I think I said this last time. It's just like, know that there's nobody perfect, but there are people that are perfect for you. And but it's never going to be 100% happiness. Just make sure that the things that upset you are the things that maybe you disagree on or have trouble with, they're not unbearable, because you don't want to marry unbearable. Well, you don't even want to be in a relationship with unbearable. But if it's little stuff that you can get over it. People, we all have quirks. So just make sure those quirks that you have for her or she has for you aren't, debilitating and crushing, and you can't move past them.
Is there anything that 25-year-old Corey valued that like 35-year-old Corey didn't, or vice versa? Or like now 45-year-old Corey's like, that wasn't as big of a deal as I thought it was. Because I have this whole list of things. And I realize they're very petty and small in the grand scheme of things, but I think when you add it all up.
See, when I'm talking, when I'm answering this question, I'm really talking to you, Aslan. I think is what I'm doing.
Is that what you're doing? Big.
Like as you've figured out, there's nobody perfect out there. There's always going to be somebody that does something that annoys you.
Right.
But it's the level of annoyance.
Yeah.
Like I do plenty of things that annoy people, but Stephanie gets over them. Shanna, well, she got over most of them. But there's things that we're all going to do to annoy everyone. It's just, does the good outweigh the bad, and by how much? And that's what you got to ask yourself. Can I live with this? And if you can, then do it. But yeah, no, I don't think there's anything at 25. I've always been into firm bodies. You know that, right? And so that's about it. Just
maybe it's a self-awareness thing, because like you do realize like how you just drive Stephanie up the roof and she deals with it somehow with her own 2 children, her own career.
I will say
also
this,
balances your nonsense.
The one growth area that I've had is that I do realize how insufferable I can be personally.
Okay.
When I was 25, I thought I was the
cat's pajamas.
The man. I thought I was the I wanted to say the S word there.
The MFing man.
Yeah, I was the MFer. Yeah, I was just like, what's the matter? You're so lucky to be around me. funny, I'm smart, all that stuff. And then I'd be like, man, I am insufferable. Like, do I have to have an opinion on everything? Do I have to be right on everything? Nobody cares, man. And I do think a little later in my life I have figured that out, that, man, some things just aren't worth arguing about. Like, who cares? They have a difference of opinion. So, yeah, anyway, I think Stephanie would probably disagree with that because she still sees that, like me arguing a lot. Or not arguing, but wanting to be right. But she has no idea what Shanna went through because I've really calmed down on that front. So.
When you get Shanna a T-shirt, like I survived marriage with Corey.
I feel like we should do that in the summer one day. Is have both of them on.
Yeah, same
both
time
of them on
or
at the
like
same time.
one show
Just,
Stephanie,
they're friends.
one show Shanna.
Yeah, well, they know each other. They're friends. They can talk about what it's like, what's like to be in my life.
Okay.
But Shanna met me when I was 21, so she would have a very unique perspective.
Moving along. Sorry about that, everybody. Actually, I'm not. That was a great thing. Keep it up, Prime Time. I like it. I think life advice stuff is good. We need to break it up the monotony of talking about inside leverage. Holding the gap,
right?
Maintain the gap. Don't keep contain.
Yep.
Whack 169. Good morning, guys. Thank you for doing what you guys do and how hard you work to deliver us news on the FSU programs every week. Come on. Thank you, though. I need to get better at accepting compliments. Thank you. This upcoming football season is important to the future of FSU football, but I'm more concerned and excited about the possible jump in recruiting. I have two questions. One, living in La La Land, let's just say FSU gets enough early commitments to have a top 5 class. Currently, Corey, they're number 10, in case you were wondering.
Okay.
What record must they have to keep the class together? Whack 169 says 8-4 question mark. I think 8-4 keeps you. Because I don't know, but 8. I mean, yeah. But if you lose 4, so you lose Clemson, Florida, Notre Dame. I don't know if it matters if you lose at Miami. Like that's the whole thing, right? Well, if you lose all the big games, I think 8-4 keeps it together.
I don't know that I just don't think it's a number. I think it's what you look like.
It's a vibe.
Like, I think you could win 5 games and lose 7 games by a total of 34 points, including Clemson in the fourth quarter. And there are strides being made. You are not selling these kids on, hey, you're going to get to play for a national championship your freshman year. You're selling these kids on, hey, we're not very good. We're turning this thing around and building a great program, and we want you to be one of the ringleaders to start it. So it would be like LaMarcus Joyner being all upset in 2009 that they went 7-6. It's like they're coming to fix it. So as long as you don't look embarrassing, I don't know that there's a number. I mean, again, Travis Hunter was alive in 2020. He saw what we all saw. Yeah. Florida State was abysmal at every level, really, and he's still strongly committed. So now, if they go 3-8 and look abysmal again, well, yeah, obviously you're going to have a lot of parents and a lot of kids going, well, I don't know if I want to go there and win 3 games every year. But if you win 5 or 6 games but look wholly better at every front, the defense looks better. You maybe just get unlucky, but you're in games in the fourth quarter, not losing by 40 points to everybody that matters. I think that's just showing improvement more than an actual record. Because what if you go 8-4 but lose to Clemson by 60 and Miami by 40? What does that prove? I mean, I just don't think we can put an actual number on it. Okay. You just like we both know honestly that it's both, right? A record does matter. You don't want to join a team that went 2-10, but I think it's more the level of improvement from last year to this year. That's the selling point, or I guess the holding on point when you're trying to sell to these recruits.
I mean, I think the numbers do matter just in terms of if you go 5-7, that's 7 Mondays that kid walks into his high school with his Florida State stuff on, and people are like, hey, good game last week, especially if you're in Georgia or if you're in Florida and someone's, all your buddies are like Miami fans or Gator fans or Bulldog fans. And like you start hearing that stuff, and it does wear on you after a while. It really does, man. Like when people talk about local pressure, it happens in different ways. It isn't like you walk into the gas station and everyone turns their back on you. It's just you kind of hear all these remarks and everything adds up, and it's an accumulation effect. And it's like, all right, man, fine, you're all right, and Georgia turns on the pressure and Georgia's having a good season, or Clemson or something like that kind of emerges. I think 8-4 though. No matter, I think 8-4. I think that holds everything together. Even if you lose by 3 touchdowns to Florida and Clemson and Notre Dame and a 2-score.
I'm not saying that. Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I don't think you'd lose many with 8-4. I guess my point was you can also keep them even if you don't get to 8 wins, depending on what it looks like. I mean, I just think that's the reality of it. I mean, again, one of the selling points Jimbo had in 2009 when he was recruiting those kids is like, look at these losses. They're not, other than the Florida game, a lot of those losses were close, really close. Like that 2009 team, I know they were 7-6, but they were, they were Jamon Fortson drop away. They had like 4 losses. The Boston College game, the Georgia Tech game, they had a bunch of losses by 3 and 5 points. So that's a selling point. It's like, look how close we're getting, and look how much better we are. And now let's throw you 5-star into the mix, and then how much better are we going to be in 2 years? Mm-hmm. So I just, yes, you want to win games for a variety of reasons, but keeping recruits is one of them. But I think you can also keep recruits even if you have 5 or 6 wins.
Okay.
If you look like you're going in the right direction.
Way to hedge everything. Way to go out.
That's what I do, man. Hey, but you know what? Life is in the hedges. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Life is in the hedges.
Second question from WAC 169. Do you think that Norvell is having honest, off-the-record conversations with the recruits and tells them up front that this season is not going to be a 10-win season and that they might wind up 7-5, 6-6? A concern that I have is that Norvell was a little too overexcited about the defense last year. I believe at one point in the preseason calling them dominant. I hope that he does more underselling and that over-delivering happens. Thank you for the work that you guys do. I like that question because I really do wonder what these coaches tell these kids. I think they try to keep it as vague as possible. I don't think any coach anywhere is telling a player, "Hey man, you're not going to see what you're going to enjoy your senior year at this university is not what's going to happen this year. We're building up to things." I don't think he's going to ever admit that to any recruit that, hey, we're working through some stuff or what have you. I think they keep it really. Yeah, I don't think they keep it. I don't want to say they keep it dishonest, but I don't know how transparently honest. Yeah, they're not totally open, heart on their sleeve about all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you'd go into it and say we're definitely not winning 10 or 11 games. If you got stuff to do on Saturday, go ahead. Don't watch us. I don't think you take that approach, but I do think you can be honest in your assessment in especially the ones that you're recruiting against Georgia and Alabama and Florida. Say, look, yes, clearly they had a leg up on us. We got in and explain, like we got in. The roster wasn't what we wanted. It was coming off 2 bad years. We're getting this into shape. See, but look how much better we are.
Do you think they say that, Corey? Like, I think they try to keep it so vague and micro and granular.
Whatever
they talk
they
about the
say
player.
Or not, whatever they say or not, if you're the dad of that kid or the mom of that kid, aren't you asking Norvell just that? Like, why would he go there and win 5 games a year? Why are we supposed to believe you're going to win? You're going to be a good team when we've watched the last 3 years. Meanwhile, look at these other teams recruiting us. So what hope do we have that you're actually going to turn this around? And so I think that's when the conversation happens. Yeah. And that's a quite obvious and justifiable question.
Yeah, no.
Like, I don't want, with these recruiting Brady, I'm like, well, what is Brady going to go there and win 4 games a year? Like, where's the hope that it's going to win 9 games? Because they have to lay out I think that's part of the message is what they're building.
Yeah.
I think that's got to be part of the message.
All right, let's keep moving here on the Renegade Express. Drill Sergeant Porter, wake up! Yes, the rumors are true. I am taking my talents to the Panhandle. My wife and I went last week to look at Destin, but as soon as I saw Danny Werfel Way as a main road there, I told her, not doing it, not living here.
Right.
We did, however, find a place in Santa Rosa Beach. Ooh, I've heard good things about Santa Rosa Beach, which is not too far of a drive from my contracting company's office near Eglin. Is it Eglin? Is that how you pronounce it? Eglin Air Force Base. Anyway, we are moving next weekend, and we'll be at the opener. Love you guys. Go Noles. Welcome.
Nice.
Welcome to Florida, Drill Sergeant Porter. Welcome, man. Glad to hear it. Yeah,
I'm saying I think I'm doing Santa Rosa. Me and some buddies are renting a beach house in Santa Rosa in July.
Let's go. All right. So nice.
Hey, we'll invite you over for the day, Aslan.
Cool.
Can't stay there, obviously, but you can come by
naturally.
and enjoy the sand.
All right.
Yeah, man, that sounds like, I think it is Eglin, by the way.
Okay.
But yeah, that sounds like, what a life, man. Getting a move to Santa Rosa? All right.
Not bad at all. XDQ004. His name's Derek. He's a Q dog. Get that Omega. Again, the composition of his photo, Corey, I'm going to have to send it to you. He's got huge lats like he's Ronnie Coleman. He's got his Omega thrown up with the beach in front of him, the sun right above it. It's magical. I don't know if he's married or not, but maybe I'll steal that, use it on my dating app photos. Like, yo, check me out.
Sure.
Wake up! With the spring game on Saturday, I thought I would pose this question. What has to happen in order for these 15 practices and the scrimmage to be a success in the eyes of the coaching staff, to us fans, and to you guys? You guys are 5 stars in my book. Go Noles. Well, thank you, Derek. Appreciate that, man. All right, Corey, when Saturday, after you assess and reconcile and audit everything that you've seen, what do you think is going to have to happen? What has to happen in order for you to be like, all right, yeah, this was a successful spring?
Yeah, I mean, the first and foremost, no devastating injuries. And that's obviously understood, but it's true, man. You don't want to lose. Like, Georgia lost its best receiver this spring. He's out for the year. You don't want stuff like that happening. And then, yeah, man, I don't know that there's one or two things. There isn't. There can't be. You went 3-6. You were horrible last year. There's not one or two things that you would see in this spring and say, yep, everything's fixed, or yes, that was a successful spring. I think the real answer is the cliche. I almost don't even want to say an answer. Just much improved. Better on April 10th than you were March 10th by a pretty substantial margin. But how do you quantify that? That's up to the coaches. But I think there's no like one thing like, okay, Milton was 14 of 15 or the receivers caught 9 balls for 280 yards or stuff like that. I mean, that'd be great. I don't expect that to happen. But I just think overall, just be better than the group you threw out there a month ago. I don't know. I know that's not the right answer. It's not an answer that you can really quantify or define, but that's the truth.
I do wonder if it's
so
more
much
of
room. There's so much room, right? This isn't Alabama or Ohio State where you got some things you got to tweak. You got some holes you need to fill, but otherwise you're pretty darn solid. There are holes all over the place.
No.
So just start filling those holes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's stuff that we necessarily maybe have to actually hear rather than see. But then are we going to believe the stuff that we're hearing? Because we need to obviously see the way they play. But I don't know how much of it maybe is just habits, the way guys carry themselves in the locker room, the way they carry themselves in the meeting room, the way they're doing in the classroom. Because that's what I found interesting about the last time we spoke to Norvell prior to Thursday, when we spoke to him after Tuesday about, he mentioned that, he wasn't happy with kind of the way they responded after coming off from 6 days. A little bit of rust to be expected, but ultimately wasn't where they need to be, the standards not being met. But then by the same token, he kind of, looked back on the fact of how far they've come from last year. So that's the kind of thing where, like, what are we measuring against? Are we measuring against last year, trying to get better than we were last year? Or are we measuring against the standard of where we want to be, where we have to be? And he mentioned that he wants to get there as soon as we possibly can. He's impatient as well. That's more of an esoteric thing. But on the field, again, man, for me, I think if you saw Gene Williams' War Room Report on Warchant.com, which is for subscribers only, with one quarterback kind of emerging from the mix, it sounds like. And I've said it, like, if that quarterback continues to build on what we see, what we've seen so far on Saturday, and you feel like you've got a dynamic playmaking quarterback that hopefully can stay healthy, that's a success. I don't think we're going to see anything from the wide receivers that make you think it's been a successful spring. You hope that Andrew Parchment's going to come in, give you a shot in the arm, and then that just kind of lifts, that's going to be high tide and lifts all the other boats. Defensively, I think you need to identify a pass rusher. Let's see Jermaine Johnson get after the quarterback, and let's see a couple picks maybe in the secondary. Those are the things that you want to. Those are the things that you need to see fixed, right? You need to see a quarterback emerge. You need to see some pass rush. You need to see some playmaking on your back end of your defense. Those are the things I guess you can hope for on the field wise to be a success for your spring.
But remember, we're only seeing a half. You're playing a half of football, and it's not even going to be the same people playing the whole half. So,
but it all
really
factors into this, Corey, right? Because we've seen other practices. This is the finale. Like now you're in front of people. You're on TV. Make plays. Let's see it. Let's see it, man.
Yeah, the people that are watching it for the first time.
Right.
Like just if you don't see whoever, Jermaine Johnson, for instance, doesn't do much in this one half where he's on the field for 17 plays. That does not mean he has not had a great spring. And on on the other side of the coin, if a receiver makes a couple really nice catches, that does not mean he's had a great spring either.
True.
It just means he had a nice day. But again, like what Aslan was saying, you certainly want to see who can do it in their limited opportunities in front of people, under the lights or whatever. I guess the lights be on. It probably will be because it's gonna be bad weather. Yeah. So the lights will be on in Doak. So yeah, you want to see how they respond too. But I don't know that there's one thing that we'll see other than a great performance by a quarterback that would make you feel a lot better or a lot worse or whatever about the upcoming football season. You just want to see constant growth, man. But yeah, that's something you can't quantify, right? Norvell can't even quantify it. He can't explain to it really what it is. We certainly couldn't. So that's all.
Yeah, I just think maybe take solace in the fact that the head coach just, kind of let down his guard for a second and was just kind of, I don't want to say celebrating, but kind of basking in the fact that they have made such progress from last year.
Yeah.
So that's obviously a good thing. Zach, who used to be in San Diego, now I think he's in Cape Coral, or maybe he's on his way to, I don't know if he's here or not. Sosa _ZP. It looks like he's giving free advice to Coach Cameron. Mackenzie Milton, flea flicker deep to McLean. That's all he says. I think that's what he wants to see. So that's cool. Man, set the bar low. You just want to see one play. Appreciate it. All right, here we go. Last question. It's Mark in Naples. Maybe you guys can link up. Maybe Mark can be your big brother, Zach. Show you the ropes of the Southwest Florida. Wake up! Who do you and Corey want to see break out in a big way in the spring game? One guy offense, one guy defense. I'm looking forward to the post on where we might be doing a small gathering of the Wake Up Warchant family either before or after the game. Go Noles. Well, as we mentioned at the top of the show, 51 on Madison, booster created establishment there in College Town after the game, live post-game show with Gene Williams and Tom Lang, and then Michael Langston when he's done interviewing God knows how many players. And after Corey and Ira are done doing their contributions for the website, weather permitting, attendance permitting, who knows how many people they're going to let in that place. I don't know exactly what's going on, but we'll be there, Mark. And I don't know, before the game, if you guys are out on Concord Statue at 3 p.m. and it's not raining down buckets, I'll come out, dap some folks up. Maybe like a half hug, not like a full hug, just kind of half hug, like, hey, man, good to see you.
Mm-hmm.
Not full embracing, but all right. Breaking out, Corey. One guy offense, one guy on defense. Break out in a big way. Like Amari Gaynor?
Okay, I'm going to say...
I want to say Amari Gaynor hit people hard. Jar the ball loose.
Yeah, I guess he would count. That's kind of where I was leaning. I want to see Amari Gaynor make some flash plays. Again, he might be on the field for 22 or 19 or 7. Who knows? But make a couple flash plays. Let's see what all the talk is about a little bit. Give us something to be excited about going into the offseason. The brunt of the offseason anyway. And then, I think you just mentioned him. I want to see Malik McLean.
Okay.
Do something. Come on, man. One of you kids has to step up. Nobody else is going to do it. You're on a roster. You're on a Florida State roster. I've watched college football for the last 10, 20, 40 years. There are freshman wide receivers in this country that play early, play well, and play often.
Right.
So there's nothing that says you guys can't. Somebody take this thing by the horns and become a player, a big-time player, early in your careers.
Who is our last?
Malik McLean's my pick to click.
Is Rashad Green our last impactful freshman wide receiver?
Well, look, man. No, Travis Rudolph was.
Yeah.
But that's a very unfortunate situation going on there. Can't really even talk about it because I have no idea what exactly is going on there, but it's not good.
I don't think, but that was 14. I don't think he had that much impact on the team.
I think he might have been the second leading receiver, buddy.
I know, but name, I don't know. I think he made a nice catch against Louisville. But I'm trying to think what other plays. But then again, I do remember thinking, okay, like this guy's going to take over for Rashad. We're going to be okay. So, I mean, he did have a good I'm not saying he didn't have a good freshman season, but and then probably better than what Rashad did in 12 or 11.
Well,
10?
I think Rashad was on pace to have a huge year in whenever that would have been 11, but then got hurt.
Yeah.
So he might have ended up having better stats than Rashad, but that's only because Rashad got hurt. But I'm looking him up right now. As a freshman, he had 38 catches for 555 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Travis or Rashad?
Travis. So, yeah, Rashad Green had a better year than him even with the injury. But 38 for 555 as a freshman is pretty darn good.
Take it. Sign me up. If any of these guys do that, right? Like if you say that's Malik McClain or Joshua Burrell or Brian Robinson, Kentron Portier.
But since then, I don't feel like any of them have done anything. Their first year, like I know Tamari and Terry was technically a redshirt freshman, but their first year on campus, I think Rudolph is the only one that's really made a legitimate impact where he'd be on the field in an important moment in the game.
Yeah.
Like he was on the field in those Notre Dame games. He made some big catches in that Notre Dame game. I don't know if there's been one since, man.
Well, it's going to happen this year, right? I think
it's got to.
Yeah.
What are they going to do? It's got to. They only got 2 guys that have played it all that are upperclassmen, and even throwing in Parchment, that's still only 3. So you got to know the freshmen are going to have to make some plays.
Yeah. Just wondering, if he's above average, that really does help because I think we're probably undervaluing, and I'm going to undervalue until I see something. I don't think it's being rude or anything, but I think we're undervaluing Keyshawn. But there's the upside of the fact that he is coming off an injury. Now he's like 2 years. He'll be like close to 2 years removed once the teeth of the season kicks in. And if he can emerge as a slot guy, I think Pokey's a good complementary guy. I think Pokey's a good number 2. Like Pokey could be as a number 2 receiver on a top 25 football team. I think, So if Parchment can be a pretty solid number 1, that just kind of changed the entire complexion. And he can roll out these big bodies.
But like I think my thought here, and maybe that's just because I grew up with Florida State, and you just look around the country now. Parchment might be a good number 1. Pokey's a good number 2. Helton's serviceable. Maybe they're all 3 pretty good receivers. How about a dynamic difference maker, though? I don't know that we think Parchment is that, right?
No.
Like you're not getting Julio Jones. You're getting a pretty darn good.
Let's not get that crazy. But I don't even think
you're not getting Rashad Green.
No, you're not.
One of these freshmen could be that. Like we kind of know what Parchment is. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But we know what Parchment is. We know what Pokey. We're pretty sure what Keyshawn is. Maybe they haven't hit their ceilings yet, but we've seen them probably close to whatever their potential is. We have no idea with these dudes. There might be a NFL first-round pick on this roster right now that we have no idea about. Wouldn't that be cool to see somebody develop into that? Because we just don't know. There's no data points at all for any of these guys. So maybe 1 or 2 of them or 5 of them. Maybe this ends up being like the LSU receiving corps from a couple years ago. We just don't know it yet.
Well, to that point, I'm glad you mentioned that. I saw it like in a story the other day. I didn't realize Justin Jefferson, who had that incredible year for the Minnesota Vikings as a rookie this past season, was only a 2-star. In the year 2017, out of Deserahan High School, which is like a big powerhouse in Louisiana, 2-star. In 2017, first-round pick and went bonkers in the NFL his rookie year. So maybe one of these guys he was 6'2", 175. I don't know if he has world-class speed or something like that that's kind of under the radar, but they certainly have options. Hopefully he's got to hit on 1 or 2 of these guys, right? You got Ja'Kai Douglas, you got Corey Wren, Portier, Brian Robinson, McClain. Destin Hill's about to show up. Burrell, although I think Burrell's probably a little bit of a work in progress. But yeah, just one of these guys, 1 or 2 of them. That's it. We're not saying hit 500. We're not hitting 600. Just beat the Mendoza line.
But also, first, obviously, you want them to be contributing college football players and solid receivers. That'd be great. But how's about a superstar? Florida State's allowed to have superstar receivers. Yeah. They're everywhere else in the country. You're allowed to get one. Maybe 1 or 2 of these guys develops into that. I'm not saying I expect it, but man, wouldn't it be nice? It's been too long. Their last good receiver was Rashad Green.
And he wasn't.
He graduated 7 years ago.
Was Rashad a 4-star?
Yeah, he was. He was a 4-star when he came. But he wasn't. He and Kelvin Benjamin were the highest rated receivers. They, I mean, I guess Rudolph and Lane were both 5 stars.
Yes.
They didn't end up playing like 5 stars.
Nope.
But and George Campbell, I think, might have been too.
Yep.
And it hasn't worked out. None of these guys have been superstars, except you could probably say Rashad. In his last year was a superstar and was a great player. How about, I mean, there are great receivers all across this land. I see them every Saturday. Oh, that kid had 8 for 140. He's somebody you got to guard. He's somebody you got to really pay attention to and cover. They're all over this world. How about a couple of them land in Tallahassee? And you know what, Aslan? Maybe they already have, and we'll get to see him for the first time on Saturday.
He's a number 29 wide receiver in 2011, Rashad Green. 29th. So.
Is that true? I thought he was a Rivals 100 kid.
No, he was, but that's a weird thing, right? I'm looking at it. He was the 60th. Actually, no, he wasn't Rivals 100. It doesn't show what his national ranking was. He's the number 40th. He was the number 40 recruit in the entire state, and 29th at his position. But for some reason, it doesn't show his number nationally. I bet you if he stayed in Albany or wherever he was from originally in Georgia, I bet you would have been 4-star. Playing at St. Thomas Aquinas probably helps.
Yeah, that definitely helps.
Although he checked out, man. I mean, Rashad obviously was the goods, man. All time. GOAT. But, yeah, it's crazy to look at all these guys that are, like, ranked higher than him. But I think we should probably, get our minds out of the whole fact that it has to be a 5-star guy to be a dynamic game breaker, what you're trying to talk about because –
Well, no, yeah, like you said, I'm looking it up now. So, he was number 20 in the country on 247, 29 Rivals. He was number 10 by Scout back when there was Scout. And he was the number 125 player in the country on ESPN. So he was thought of like he was a 4-star dude.
Yeah.
But he wasn't. You wouldn't have thought with that bio coming out of high school that he'd be maybe the third best receiver that Florida State's ever had. But he turned into it. That's allowed to happen. Guys are allowed to overplay what their expectations are. And again, there might be 2 of these dudes that end up being first-round picks and superstar talents. Let's see it happen, guys.
So what? Peter Warwick 1, Sellers 2, Green 3. That's what you're saying?
Probably. Maybe you interchange them. I mean, Rashad was a part of a national championship team, but Sellers' numbers are incredible, and he only played for 3 years, and his numbers are just ridiculous. And Biletnikoff is in there too. There's other guys here or there I guess you could throw out there. But, yeah, for my money, my 3 are Warwick, Sellers, and Green.
Okay.
And Biletnikoff – I know there's an award named after him, and he's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But if you look at his FSU numbers, I think he only had 1 year of receiving 1,000 yards, and it's hard. Yeah, it's hard to compare years. Hard to compare years. Yeah.
All right, we are done. That's a wrap. We're done here for the week, but we're not done in real life. We'll be out there grinding for you folks. Saturday, spring game, 5 p.m. Stay connected to warchant.com. We're going to have it covered every angle conceivable: recruiting, game, looking back on the spring, looking forward, wrapping it all up, videos, articles, everything. So stay connected with us there. Hopefully we'll see you out there if the weather holds up. Make it to Tallahassee. Have a great time. Have a great weekend. He's Corey. I'm Aslan. Thank you for listening to Wake Up Warchant, fueled by DeLuna Coffee.
Warchant.com is the ultimate inside source for FSU football and recruiting. And now you can get in on the action for free for an entire month. Warchant.com is offering a risk-free 30-day trial subscription. Get full access to the #1 website covering the Seminoles just by entering the promo code WARCHANT30. That's WARCHANT30. Sign up and get in on the world's most active FSU message boards. Receive breaking news, stories from our award-winning staff, plus get exclusive interviews and videos. Just enter the promo code WARCHANT30. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.